Good morning. I posted a video on this last night, and then, as I've done in the past, I went to watch the video this morning and realized, oh wow, I showed way too much personal information. So I'm going to pull that video down and replace it with this one, and we'll see how the second one goes. This is my new Franklin Covey binder. I just received it in the mail yesterday. I bought it on eBay for $18. I chose this one because it was not a zip, it had larger than 1-inch rings, and I think that was mostly, and the price. Those were my three sort of considerations based on what was available when I looked. Let me pop these things out. This is some note paper I cut from a Clairefontaine notebook to the sort of Franklin Covey compact size, and punched. These rings are 1 1/4 inch. Basically, as far as I can tell, they match what I have in my Success Choice planner here. They're larger than what I have in my Cavendish, but only margin, just a little tiny bit. It's like a few millimeters difference. So, this binder I was really happy with. I think my only issue with it was that it was starting to prematurely age, and so I just took it out of circulation. I don't need them to stay new looking, but when they start to seem like they might start to fall apart if I keep using them. This one, like, you can see that the leather kind of ripped right there on the little press stud. And it was starting to get pretty aged around the spine. This leather feels really nice, and I like how it's made, but it's really, really thin. I also am not crazy about it. I think it's like one piece of cardboard that is sort of the core of this cover, and because it doesn't break at the spine is like kind of strangely too curved. If you look at this in comparison, this one's not closed, but I like this one sort of squares up better. This is my Winchester, by the way. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. This is my Cavendish. It's pretty comparable to this. This binder is bigger. You can see the covers are longer. This one is a little bit taller, but just a tiny bit, like 1/4 inch or something. It's not much. The only thing I really realized I don't like about this is this closure is like massively long and sort of keeps folding itself back over, which I remember my Malden did that, and I hated it. It was always in the way. I was always trying to get it out of the way. At least this one is broken in enough that once you sort of press it down, it stays there. By the way, sorry for the wobbly camera. Anyway, the cool thing about this is that it has this wallet pocket, which you can get some light in there. Yeah, it's huge. I did some experimenting. I can fit a business envelope, like a number 10, fits in here no problem, lengthwise across. 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper folded in half, slides right in here with room to spare. I think that's going to make this a really useful binder to carry, just for inbox purposes. All those stray documents that I need to add, they never really fit well in a Filofax Personal. It's like you have to tri-fold and they stick out the top or whatever, but in this they'll just all tuck in there. It'll bulk it up even more than it's already bulked up, but I think it's worth the compromise. It's got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 full height slip pockets, and then it's got business card pockets here. This one's still pretty tight. This one is fairly stretched out. It looks like the previous owner tucked something oversized in this. I'm not sure what. It doesn't look like it's... Maybe they tucked a phone in here? I can't tell. It doesn't look like it's that sort of stretched, but it's definitely something sort of square was tucked in here. I'm waiting somewhat impatiently for my order from Franklin Covey to arrive. Notably, this binder, the seller is in Salt Lake City, and they shipped it via U.S. Postal Service on Saturday, and it arrived with me yesterday, which was Monday, so it was just like one day in transit on Sunday. Monday. I received it on Monday, it was in transit on Sunday. I'm inarticulate in the morning. So that was pretty zippy, and interestingly, the Franklin Covey inserts, which also shipped from Salt Lake City, shipped on Friday via UPS, and I don't know where they are. The tracking information wasn't giving me anything other than they left Salt Lake very early in the morning, like 2 a.m. on Saturday. And since then I've heard nothing. So presumably they're like in a truck somewhere in the middle of the country. Some godforsaken place, who knows? They must be in Pennsylvania by now. We'll see when they get here. But anyway, I did want to sort of show, because Emmy had said, I posted a picture on Twitter, and Emmy responded that it looked ginormous, which it does, especially compared to this. But do keep in mind, this, even as far as personal size binders go, the Winchester, let me close it. The Winchester is a very trim planner, a trim binder rather. It's even next to the Cavendish, you can see the difference. And even, I don't have a regular like 23 millimeter ringed personal size here, but when you put this next to a Malden or a Domino, the covers are, it's smaller in every dimension. The height is a tiny bit smaller, the width is a tiny bit smaller, and it's certainly, despite the fact that the rings are the same size, it's trimmer in thickness, mostly because it's not padded up with cardboard and excessive pockets and stuff. The new ones, they've really, instead of kind of using sturdy leather, they went with really, really thin stuff, and they, in order to give it enough structure, they put a piece of cardboard inside, kind of, I don't know, chintzy. Anyway, this one, as I mentioned earlier, definitely has the cardboard inside, and I don't really like that. So, anyway, this also has some kind of cardboard inside, to be honest, but the way that they designed it, it feels like it's a piece, and a piece, and a piece, and like where it bends here, there isn't any, so that's why it gets quite square when it closes. The outer one feels like it's one continuous piece. Like I said, this binder really is bulked up by this pocket, and I bet right now it lays flat enough, and certainly with some inserts in it, it will be flat. But if you look at how it opens, this was definitely not laying flat when it was brand new. This is just because it's, you know, this is a well-aged binder. It's got a nasty scuff on the front, some other marks, nicks, scuffs. The rings are almost but not quite perfect. One of them is a little misshapen, one of them has a tiny, tiny gap. I'm assuming if they're giving me problems, someone commented that they are replaceable by Franklin Covey stores. Of course, we don't have one anywhere near us, but I'm wondering if I even can just find a new ring mechanism. These fasteners look like they take an Allen wrench to me, so it should be pretty easy to swap it out. If it is problematic, I'm not sure if it's bad enough that it will be. The other thing is this, I keep calling it Franklin Covey, but this one is a Franklin Quest. Franklin Quest was the original company, and they bought Stephen Covey's consulting company in 1997. So I'm assuming, and changed the name to Franklin Covey at that time, I'm assuming that this planner, this binder, predates, because it still says Franklin Quest, or comes from about that time. So, I mean, we're talking mid-90s or so. Says, full grain Napa leather, made in USA. Very nice, very nice. Who needs all this, like, made in Far East stuff? Not that I have any problem with that, but I think, you know, they're not doing it for craftsmanship, they're doing it for cost. But, as regards to ginormous, this planner I do think is ginormous. Let me see if I can frame them better. Sorry again for the wobble. This one, I think, the rings are basically the same size, and if you stand these up next to each other, which they don't want to do, let me see, you can actually see that the Franklin planner binder is actually wider, but I think that that's because of the wallet pocket. And also, this planner has nice sturdy covers that don't bend too, like they don't, they're not floppy. This, as some of you may recall, one of my main quibbles with this, let me get back away from it, is that the covers have no structure at all. They're like completely flop, which makes this planner impossible to use from as a stand-up. It's also huge. Anyway. It was a really, I mean, the setup was nice. This is Daytimer pages, by the way. This is how I used to fill them up. I was really excited when I got this because it just seemed like the day planner layout was really nice. You have time slots that go all the way up to 11 p.m., space for phone calls, for expenses, a huge amount of space for to-dos, and then all this notes page over here. And you can see some days I filled it, some days I really didn't fill it, some days I filled it a lot. I don't need this much space on a day-to-day basis. So the month spreads are wonderful. The boxes are actually big enough to really actually write in, but I abandoned this pretty quickly just because I found it was just so big to carry around. This is much closer. It's a handful, but it's not nearly as big, and also the floppiness of this really made it kind of a pain. Let me see if I can get this to show. That shows in the sun there, that kind of shows its color better. Over here I notice it kind of is coming much more sort of a grayish, ashy tone, but it's a chocolate brown. It's a pretty color. Not pretty like this, but anyway, I'm excited to get this started. This planner, as much as I love the binder completely, I do wish it had larger rings because I'm always at capacity with it, but I just want showing you, this is like last week's planner setup, and it's just stuffed with information, and I miss being able to, let me show you in here again, being able to kind of visually lay out my day in a timed plan is really nice, and I really miss having that capability. And so I also find that these day slots, if I have more than 3 things that are timed that need to go in each day, they don't fit. And so I'm getting kind of, as much as the paper's wonderful, the design is lovely, but for my needs, if this was just my personal life, I could totally make it work, but for work purposes and for managing my rental properties and everything, this is just not going to cut it. So anyway, I'm excited to give this a try. Sorry this has gone on so long. If I can get over the fact that it's not a Filofax and doesn't look as cool as this, I think it's got so much function built in that I think it should really be a good fit for me. But I'll report back once I get it set up. Thanks for watching.